would be something for him to react to.
So for the audience that listened to the minute, the choir sings Almighty Bomb, who destroyed devils to create angels, behold his glory. The next note was specifically Mendez and choir to sing, behold the truth that abides in us, but instead it's spoken by Mendez. Behold the truth that abides in us. Reveal that truth unto the maker. And at this point, the congregation then rises again, right? Everybody stands.
Right.
And we're at 42 seconds into this minute, and we're kind of about to get into really some great stuff moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
We have, when he says, I reveal my inmost self unto my God, we then kind of pan over to
Mendez?
Angelo.
Just say oregano.
Oregano. We kind of don't know why. I can't remember this. I'm also keep messing up Casplay, but it's fine.
That's okay. I keep calling him cosplay.
So oregano. No.
Angelo.
Oregano.
Dang it. Angelo and Caspe, who are seated next to each other, stand, and they repeat that last part, unto my God. And then we jump over to Albina and Fat Man, and they also say, unto my God.
Mm-hmm.
It was not in the script for that kind of movement to go back and forth, so I found an interesting choice that we would see Mendez, and then we would see Angelo and Caspe, and then we would see Albina and Fat Man repeating the last part of those lines. Mm-hmm. These are the leaders of the people. We're not looking at the congregation, even though we're hearing them, but we're focusing on each of those two factions, hearing them repeat that line.
So it's exactly, even though I like this, it's exactly what I hate about explosions, where they have to do the explosion 4 times.
They got to show 4 different cuts of the same explosion.
Right, so that it seems like it lasts longer and it's more dramatic. That's essentially what they're doing here. Because
right. And then the congregation sings, unto my God.
Yes. Now, I do like this. This is what this has been building to. This is our shocking moment of the film. Mm-hmm. I mean, can we all agree on that? That this is this is the moment that we've been waiting for. These people are different. We know we have
telepath, but
right. We have that feeling. There's even more.
Yeah.
I just think that again, you got to escalate this moment. It's got to be a series of bizarre, and then the bizarre occurs.
Well, we're on the cusp of it. I mean, it's one of those situations where there's so much happens in the next minute.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well,
we tease with this minute with 52 seconds in, Mendez is suddenly fidgeting at his neck, the top of his collar, his neckline. Like something is about to happen. I mean, Sean, you watching these a minute at a time.
Yep.
When you're watching this minute, did you have a sense about what was going on, what he's about to do?
No, I didn't.
Did it come across like, what's he doing?
Yeah, I didn't know until the next minute. Yeah.
Well, because my notes do say, and that's the very last note I have, the reveal, almost. So we get to that precipice of here it is. You saw the trailer when we showed it to you at the end of Planet of the Apes. Did you put 2 and 2 together that must be what's happening, or did you remember?
Yeah, I kind of remembered that from the trailer. Yeah.
So you at least kind of knew that's where we're going.
That's where we're going. Yeah.
Okay. So Mendez, we move to Mendez, who starts to kind of tug at his collar a little bit. We then jump to Albina, who's now pulling at her collar. We then jump to a tied on Fat Man, who's now pulling at his collar, and then
Don't we get Angelo also?
We get Angelo doing the same thing, and then instead of seeing Casplay, we jump right back to Mendez at 57 seconds, and all of a sudden, there's something wrong with his face. There's something weird about his face that suddenly looks doll-like, that looks kind of smashed.
It does look very doll-like. The eyes are not even, they're not just lifeless, they aren't even there.
They're empty,
Yeah, and he's kind of pulling at what appears to be the base of his neck, and something is happening with his chin as his face kind of collapses.
It's no Mission Impossible technology, that's for sure.
Well, it's a cool escalation that blasts off all of a sudden with no build to it. That's my only complaint about the minute, is that it just seems to take for granted that it feels weird. There's no building of the weird, and I do wish I had it.
Darth Vader scene where you see his helmet coming on and you see he's got scars. You never get a scene like over the shoulder of somebody pulling something down over their face and then turning around and what's going on?
I mean, them worshiping the bomb was a very long process that kind of built a little bit. But you're right. There's no sense of this is about to happen. It would have nice to have some more tension leading into it.
They could have built it up when Brent first went into the church and saw the priest that was there worshiping in front of the bomb. Mm-hmm. He could have been saying, I show you my true face, and then pull the mask back on.
I think you could do that.
From behind.
That is a tease that we're like, why was he doing that with his face? Or maybe he's smoothing his face as he talks. you could have, in this moment, instead of just having Brent sit there could have been a quick moment of someone shoving him down and pushing him to sit in his seat so we know he's there against his will, creates a tension. There were all kinds of things they could have done, but instead it's that weird passive moment that Brent just is sort of observing like something's wrong. Brent continues to react to the world as though something's wrong, but we don't know what's, Sean said it succinctly last time. Where's the conflict?
Yeah.
Right.
Where really is anything that's happening? We know the apes are coming. We know the humans don't want them there. We know Brent is in a bad place, but why is everybody so tense? Because there's been nothing to escalate to the point that they should be, boom, ready to go.
Right. We're on minute 676, correct?
Yes.
So we have minute 77 to kind of move through. We can talk a lot more about what's happening with these particular characters. There's really something kind of cool in minute 78 that I can't wait to talk about till we get there.
The last thing I want to throw
in
the
script that's not visually shown.
The last thing I want to tease, and this is because Sean yesterday texted me about Dana Gould's podcast having a little bit about the production of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and I want to pepper in some of this as we go. But he is an unapologetic Planet of the Apes freak.
Oh yeah, he loves it,
and he even calls this one of the most bizarre films that's ever made. And you begin, he talks about things, he'll throw things in that the central conflict of the film makes no sense. And there were so many things that went into production but I hope by the end of this season, is that what we call this?
Series? I don't know.
But at the end of Beneath.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope we can cover some of what he says, because I think you would agree that what you listen to in that is you kind of go, wow, this starts to make sense when you realize some of the crap.
The bullshit that went into making it.
Yeah, this film was fraught with problems. And again, there's so much here that's so beautifully laid out that is untapped. And to me, this minute's frustrating in that way.
So do you think this scene is the reason that they said telepaths can also talk, and they back-timed it to make them talk to Brent in the beginning? Otherwise, this scene would just be people sitting there beep, 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 beep for the whole scene. And so they knew they had to have them talk at some point.
Yeah, and I think that, that goes into, it's almost like a time travel movie, that once you open the aspect that somebody can use their mind to talk, or somebody can use a DeLorean to travel through time, why aren't they constantly using their mind or jumping in the DeLorean? You have to set something, so that makes sense. We get here, you have to have it, otherwise you want to talk about a dull minute.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It just beeps and boops.
That's a good point. My friends, I'm looking and I see eyeballs hitting me like it's time to move on. So
I'm ready for the next minute.
I'm pulling up my notes for the next minute.
Minute 77 does have the promise of we're about to get something big. I think we've been waiting on it. So let's shut down today. Let's call it a day and let's move to tomorrow. So that's minute 76 in the books. We're going to wrap up Monday with a nod to the rest of our Movies by Minute family. Go over to moviesbyminute.com. You can find a list of everyone out there doing just what we're doing, breaking down movies 1 minute at a time. If you're a film lover like the three of us, it is a cornucopia of greatness. So go check everyone out. Let them know how much you love them. Come back and tell us how much you love us. We'll never turn away from love. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow at minute 77.
Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes.
The only good human is a dead human.